Again, that's Measurement Tool, Session 5. We're going to go through a little PowerPoint here first, and then I'm going to switch over and give you a little demo in EasyBuilder. So in this section, we're going to talk about measurement tools. In previous classes, we talked about some of the other tools, and still coming up is the IOs, communication, and as you said, round tripping. But that's several weeks down the line. In this particular presentation, we're going to use a measurement tool, solve a vision application. I have a demo plate here on my desk we're going to have a look at. We're going to talk about smart features as they pertain to measurement tools. Again, we're going to apply a measurement tool to a sample image. We're going to talk a little bit about fixturing and how it relates to measurement tools. We're also going to talk a little bit about calibration, which definitely comes into play with measurement tools. So as you can see here, measurement tools output quantitative information either in pixels or real-world units. If you look at the two little screenshots, you can see the top one there says blob area. You can see that's a measurement in pixels. It says 135 pixels squared. Below it is a width in millimeters. The difference there is that they have done a calibration. Until you've done a calibration and you've told the system this is an inch, this is a millimeter, or some reference, all it will display is pixels. That can be used for pass-fail criteria, data for another tool, or you can take that measurement and send it on to another device. Measurement tools can tolerate some part movement in the field of view, but generally require fixturing. When I give you the demo, I'll show you a little bit about fixturing. So here are some of the different reference tools. Distance, you can see here again, it's being displayed in millimeters, so we know it's the calibration has been done. It will always show the two edges, as it does here, edge 1, edge 2, and then the width between them. Below that, again, it's showing two edges, but in this case, we're measuring angles, which of course is always measured in degrees. And then concentricity, a mouthful, which is the basically measurement between the center of one circle to the center of another circle. It is, as you can see here, measured, in this case, in millimeters. The references, in this case, these are also measurement tools. The top one here is the diameter. Again, we can measure the diameter of a circle. In this case, it's 15 millimeters. And blob area. Blob area, that little indentation after the millimeters is squared. Of course, we're talking about, in this case, 8 millimeters by 8 millimeters is the area of the blob. And again, it says there, if it hadn't calibrated, that would be in pixels, not in millimeters or inches or any other real-world value. It has no idea what it's looking at. It could be looking at miles, it could be looking at feet, it could be looking at centimeters, millimeters. But like I said, until you've done a calibration, it will always just display millimeters. Or excuse me, pixels. Now some of the samples here, or some examples here, distance, measurement between two features, and you can, in this case, edges, not just edge features. It can be any two features, from one circle to another circle, for example. Again, you can measure angles, blob area, center diameter, and center concentricity. I love saying that one. Smart features is something new. In the past, in version 3, 4, and below, you always had to go out and you had to define a feature. For example, in this case, you can see a whole lot of edges being shown. So you had to go out and generate an edge tool, say here is an edge, generate a second edge, and then put in a function to measure between the two. Now with version 4.1 with EasyBuilder, right within EasyBuilder, it will show you all of the edges or all the features that it finds in blue, the top picture here. Then all you have to do is take your mouse and go in and tell it which two edges you want to measure between. And once you've done that, they turn green like the last picture. You can see the little crosshairs telling you that it is measuring between the two. Here's another example here of smart features. In this case, in step 1, we're using a present absence edge tool. And they're setting up to find an edge, and then a second edge, and then just measuring the distance. It's very similar to the way that you did it in the earlier versions. This would be something you could do if EasyBuilder wasn't finding a feature. If it was an area of low density, for example, and it wasn't finding it, you could always go in and find the edge this way. And there are even some new tools within 4.1 to help you do this. But for the most part, you can just go into directly into the measurement tool. It will find the features for you. Highlight them with the mouse, and it will measure between them. Smart limits is also something new within 4.1 EasyBuilder. In previous versions, it always just put in default values or values of 0. And then you had to go in and you had to figure out what the limit should be. For example, in this case, here's a distance in millimeters. And in the past, the minimum maximum would be set at 0. You would most likely measure a good distance and a bad distance and then figure out what the tolerance should be and put in those values. With EasyBuilder, it basically, once you've measured it, so you always want to start, of course, with a good measurement, in this case 46 millimeters, it then puts in the minimum of -5% and a maximum of +5% without you doing anything. And generally that is an acceptable tolerance. Obviously, if that's not tight enough for you, or if it's not going to work for your particular application, then you can just go up or down from there. And in the case of counting tools, as you can see on the bottom here, if you go out, for example, and you measured, or excuse me, if you counted blobs, as we're doing in this case, it will automatically assume that since you just found 3 blobs, you must be looking for 3 blobs. So it will put in a smart value, a minimum and maximum of 3 in this case, whatever you measured. So again, you want to make sure you start with a good part. And then if you were to look at other images or other parts, if you didn't have 3 blobs, it would tell you it would fail and tell you how many you had. Definitely saves a lot of time. Between that and smart features, it definitely saves you lots of times. We've had students here referring to this now as way too EasyBuilder. It almost takes the mystique out of it. But of course, that's exactly what we wanted to do. So here's some more smart settings. The EasyBuilder decreases the contrast parameter until an edge is found. That's another nice feature. In the past, when you went out to try to find an edge, you had to tell it basically the parameters to find an edge. EasyBuilder just goes out and adjusts itself until it finds an edge. You're telling it there's an edge in this box, so it's assuming that you're correct, so it will adjust the contrast. So it will adjust down to a contrast to find an edge, no matter how close those two contrasts are. It's quite a thing. You can set up the tools as a pass image on a pass edge. As I've said, obviously you'd want to make sure you always set up on the pass tool, the good tool, or the good part you're looking at, not the bad one. It's going to base all of the parameters based on a good part. Okay, now let's go into EasyBuilder now. So you should all have EasyBuilder up on your screen now.
I do.
Excellent. You're looking at the silver demo plate that you probably have yourself. You came to one of the ASP meetings. In this case, we're connected to an Insight Micro 1400 that's sitting here on my desk. And I just started a new job. If you haven't seen it, by the way, on the image screen in the middle, it says I/O OK. That's because in this case I am connected to a Wago here in my office. Is that something you've seen?
I see I/O OK.
Have you played with the Wago yet?
No, I have not. They irritate me.
Yeah, well, we have a Cognex solution coming.
Good.
Working on the course here, so I went and got a Wago out of stock and then hooked it up here. And that's what you're getting there, the IOK. So that's a little bit different than you've probably seen before. I just always like to explain that, so you're not mystified by that. So we just, let's go in, and I'm going to first, I'm already connected, so I'm going to say set up image. And let's go to live video. You can see it's a cloudy day here in Duluth, Georgia. Looks like it's about to pour. We're not getting too much sun shining on my little metallic demo plate here.
In the upper right corner, it says currently sharing.
Yeah, that's just, I'm sharing my application with Live Meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not part of EasyBuilder. I'm sharing this view with you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's set the trigger for manual. And let's do a calibration. So I'm going to set scale calibration. Then I'm going to use edge to edge. And as soon as I select edges, you can see that it went out and it found all of the different features, in this case shown in light blue. So I'm going to measure from this line to this line, because I know this is a micro, and I know it's 30 millimeters. So I'm going to put in, I'm already set for millimeters, I'm going to put in 30 here, and say calibrate. Boom, done. Scale calibration. We could also do good calibration. I could put a target here in my field of view and set that up. That was part of an earlier class, so right now I just wanted to do that much so that all of our values will come up as millimeters. Next I'm going to go into locate part, and I'm going to use a PathMax tool, say add, and I'm going to use the Cognex logo here as my fixture. I'm sure you're probably well aware of what a fixture is, but for the other folks who may be listening here, if you're not aware what a fixture is, basically a reference point. I'm going out right now, and when I click OK here, you'll see here in the lower right-hand corner that it's captured or made a model of, or sometimes they refer to it as a trained image, as it says there in the tab. So every time now that when I run this job, on every image, it's going to look for this Cognex. When it finds the Cognex, hopefully it will compare that to the original location and move all of the tools accordingly, assuming they're all fixtured. If you look in the middle on the bottom here, it says, in the General tab, it says Tool Fixture. In this particular case, I am making a full fixture, so I'm not going to fixture to anything. Nothing's created yet. But all my tools from this point forward, I would come back and I would use this pattern _1 as my fixture. So every time an image came up, it would look at how much the Cognex logo in this case is moving the X, Y, and angle, and do the same for all the tools. And it does that automatically, by the way, in EasyBuilder. I don't have to do this. It will automatically always fixture back to this tools as we move forward. You can always change it if you have more than one fixture, which you can have, or you can have no fixture if you like. And again, you can see all of the settings here. EasyBuilder went ahead and put them in there. I didn't put any of those values in, it did it for me. A magical thing. So now that we've done the calibration and fixturing, we can go into inspect part. And today we're talking about measurement tools. So here are the measurement tools in question. Let's start with a distance tool. So I click on distance, click add, and again now it's showing me the smart features, all of the features it found in light blue. And I'm going to click one and then another. You can see here under results the two edges as I define them, and then it measured the distance between them in millimeters. Again, in millimeters because I did a calibration in millimeters. Just that easy. And again, if you look at settings, midpoint to line, I could change that if I wanted to. Midpoint to midpoint, however I wanted to do it. And the range setting, range limit, excuse me, are already set there. And again, that's 5% below and 5% above. So let's try another tool. Let's go to a angle measurement tool. I'll click Add. Again, it's showing me the smart features. Let's measure between this edge and this edge. In this case, it's showing us the two edges I defined and the angle of between them, which was 89.332 degrees. Blob area is a little bit different. Click Add. I'm going to go down, let's consider this P, or blob. Now right now I'm going to hold the control key, and you can watch the cursor change to a magnifier, so we can zoom in there. I'll define the P here. Okay. It's saying that the area of this particular blob is 10 millimeters squared. 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters. And you can see that it's defining the P here in light green. Now that is total area. That's imagining that this P were a square, or in this case a rectangle. It does not take into account open areas. It doesn't care. It's just the area total of the blob. Circle diameter, another measurement tool. Click Add. You can see immediately it went out and it showed us all of the circles. And this is a diameter tool, so we'll just click on one of them. On this one. Oops, okay, hit it. Come on. There it goes. You can see that it turned magenta. Say OK. And it measured the diameter as 15 millimeters. And again now, if you look, it went ahead and it fixtured back to that original pattern. Look under results, here that pattern is. Again, that's that Cognex logo. Since that's the only pattern, since that's the only fixture, I do have actually two other fixtures in their distance and angle, so I could fixture to them if I wanted to. Generally, I created that pattern as my fixture, so I'll leave it on there. Settings, again, it did this automatically, as well as the range limit, 5% up, 5% down. And then the last of the measurement tools, circle concentricity. And this is the measure of the center of two circles. So I'll say Add. In this case, we're going to have to click on two different circles. So we'll measure from this one to this one. If I can hit it. There it goes. And it measured the difference between the two centers as 0.25 millimeters. And that is all of the measurement tools. This is a pretty short section. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to switch back here. Gary, is there anything else? We seem to go through that pretty quickly. Anything you'd like?
No. Seemed pretty straightforward. I didn't see anything that I missed.
Yeah, I said we've had students here referring to it as way too EasyBuilder.
Yeah.
Like I said, it took all the kind of the mystique out of it. The way we have this designed is one section per conference call, or actually one section per week. So it's going to be a few weeks before we get to the round tripping.
That's all right. I'm on vacation next week.
Good for you. I'm actually off Tuesday, but I'm going to be in the rest of the week. We actually have, like I said, the ongoing classes. So you're always welcome. So we're always welcome to come to those. We have one coming up the first week of June here in Duluth, and there's one in Novi also, I believe, that same week.
Yeah, I got customers going. I've been to enough of those, thanks.
Hey, wait a minute now. You haven't been to one of mine.
No, you're right.
All right, well then, I hope that you found that a little bit interesting, and the recording of this will be up online here probably next week, as well as all of the classes we've done in the past. And like I said, we'll continue on next week.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great Memorial Day.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.